The courtroom was silent, the tension so thick it felt like the air itself was holding its breath. At the center of it all sat a small girl, no older than 7, her legs swinging nervously above the floor, her small hand clutched tightly to the thick fur of a large German shepherd by her side. Her name was Lily, and the dog, Max, was not just her pet but her protector, her best friend, and, as the courtroom would soon learn, the key to a truth that had been buried in shadows for far too long. Across the room, adults exchanged glances, lawyers shuffled papers, and the judge, a man with stern eyes and a furrowed brow, leaned forward from his high bench, watching Lily closely. She was the youngest witness to ever take the stand in that courtroom, and her testimony was crucial in a case that had gripped the town for months. A prominent man was on trial, accused of hurting people who trusted him, including children. But it wasn't just any case. It was her case, and her voice held the weight of truth, pain, and incredible courage. Lily had been quiet ever since the incident, traumatized and afraid, speaking only in whispers and mostly to Max. No one had been able to get her to fully open up. Not the police, not the therapist, not even her foster parents. Until that day, when Max was allowed into court with her, wearing a special vest that said, "Support Dog." The moment Lily walked in, holding Max's leash, something shifted. She walked with purpose, though her hands trembled slightly, and Max trotted beside her, his eyes alert, as if he knew he was on a mission. The judge allowed her to sit beside Max instead of in the witness box, hoping that comfort would coax the truth from her. A gentle voice from the prosecutor began to ask questions, careful and kind, but Lily simply looked down, her eyes hidden beneath long lashes. Then the defense attorney stood, towering and cold, his voice sharp, trying to intimidate, trying to twist the truth. Still, Lily said nothing. Her silence stretched so long that people began to think maybe she wouldn't speak at all. But then, as the defense lawyer turned to sit back down, Lily did something no one expected. She lifted one finger in the air and made a small circular motion, subtle and slow. Max's ears perked. He sat up straighter. His eyes locked onto Lily's, and something passed between them, like a silent agreement. Max gave a low bark, just once. The sound echoed through the courtroom. The judge raised an eyebrow, about to speak, but before he could, Max began to move. Not wildly, not aggressively, just with calm determination. He walked across the courtroom, stopping in front of the defendant, who sat smugly with his arms crossed. Then Max barked again, louder this time, and sat down in front of the man. Lily's voice rang out for the first time, clear, small, and heartbreaking. "He smells it," she said. The courtroom froze. Max remembers him. He always barks when he smells the cologne he wore. The judge leaned forward. "What do you mean, Lily?" She swallowed hard, her hands still lifted, fingers trembling. "That man, he came to our house. At night, he told me not to tell. But Max barked at him then, too, and I never forgot the smell. I couldn't say it before. But Max knows." Gasps echoed around the room. The prosecutor jumped to his feet. The defense attorney objected, but the judge waved him silent. "Let her speak," he said. "Go on, Lily." Tears welled in her eyes. "I was scared, but Max helped me remember. I trained him to bark if he ever saw that man again. We practiced the signal. I didn't know if he would remember, but he did." She looked at Max with pure love and gratitude. "He protected me. He still is." The judge stood, his gavel forgotten. The silence was deafening. Then the defendant stood up, stammering, trying to deny it all. But Max barked again, louder and more aggressively this time, and Lily flinched, memories flashing behind her eyes. A bailiff stepped forward, placing a firm hand on the defendant's shoulder, and for the first time, the man looked shaken. Evidence was re-examined, Max's behavior included in the records, and Lily's testimony, though short, was accepted as genuine. But it wasn't just the words. It was the signal, the dog, the memory, and the undeniable connection that changed everything. The courtroom had never seen anything like it. The judge later told reporters that it was the most emotional moment of his career. "That little girl," he said, "did something many adults couldn't. She stood up. She found her voice. And her dog, well, her dog was a hero we didn't know we needed." The trial continued, But the tide had turned. Other children began to come forward, inspired by Lily's bravery. Max became a symbol of hope, featured in newspapers, celebrated on TV, and even honored by the mayor. But to Lily, he was just Max, her best friend, her safe place, the one who listened when no one else could. And every night, she would curl up beside him, her hand resting gently on his back, knowing she was safe, knowing she was heard. What had started as a silent courtroom ended in applause and justice, and in a reminder to the world that even the smallest voice, when paired with loyalty and love, can be powerful enough to stop everything, even a courtroom, in its tracks. The courtroom was packed that morning. People from all over the town filled the seats, reporters lined the back row, and security stood at every corner. This was not just any case. It was a trial of Douglas Reed, a wealthy businessman and community figure who had been accused of crimes no one wanted to believe at first. He smiled for cameras, donated to charities, and shook hands with important people. But behind closed doors, there were rumors, whispers about how he treated those weaker than him, especially children. And now, one of those children was about to face him. Lily Summers was only 7 years old, but she had already been through more than most people twice her age. She had long brown hair, soft eyes that seemed older than they should be, and a quietness about her that made people stop and notice. After what had happened to her, she stopped talking to most people. Therapists tried to help. Foster families offered love. But Lily kept her heart closed. Except for one soul, Max. Max was a German shepherd, strong and loyal. He had been assigned to Lily as a therapy dog 6 months ago, and since then, they had been inseparable. Max seemed to understand her in ways no one else could. He didn't ask her questions. He didn't expect her to explain anything. He was simply there. And that was exactly what Lily needed. When Lily was asked to testify in court, everyone was worried. The lawyers knew how hard it would be for a child to speak about something so painful. But Lily surprised them. She agreed on one condition. Max had to be with her. After some debate, the judge allowed it, understanding the emotional weight the little girl carried. And so, that morning, Lily walked into the courtroom holding Max's leash. She wore a gray sweater and black shoes. Her tiny hand gripped the fur of her dog tightly as she was guided to the witness stand. The room fell into a hush. Judge Raymond Carter, a serious man with white hair and sharp eyes, looked down at her from the bench. "Hello, Lily," he said gently. "Do you know why you're here today?" Lily nodded slowly. Max sat down beside her, alert but calm. She didn't say anything yet, but the judge gave her time. The prosecutor, Ms. Green, was a kind woman who had worked with Lily before. She stepped forward and spoke softly. "Lily, we're going to ask you a few questions. If you don't know the answer, or if you feel scared, it's okay. Just tell the truth." Lily looked at her, then down at Max. She gave the tiniest nod. Ms. Green continued, "Can you tell us if you recognize the man sitting over there?" She pointed toward Douglas Reed, who sat at the defense table, looking calm and confident in his expensive suit. Lily glanced his way, and her eyes went dark. She nodded. "Do you remember him coming to your house?" Ms. Green asked. Lily's lip trembled, but she didn't speak. Her grip on Max's fur tightened. Fro the defense table, Mr. Blake, Douglas's lawyer, stood up. "Objection, Your Honor," leading the witness. The judge sighed, sustained. "Please rephrase, Ms. Green." Ms. Green nodded. "Lily, can you tell us in your own words what you remember?" But Lily still didn't speak. Minutes passed. The silence became thick. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others stared, hoping she would say something. Anything. The judge leaned forward. "It's okay, Lily. Take your time." Still, Lily remained quiet. Her eyes stayed on Max. The German shepherd's ears twitched, as if he too felt the tension. Then something strange happened. Lily raised her right hand. Slowly, carefully, she made a small circular motion with her index finger, like she was stirring an invisible cup of tea. Max's ears perked up immediately. The room held its breath. Max stood. He walked forward, not toward the judge or Ms. Green, but toward the defense table, directly to Douglas Reed. The bailiff stepped in, unsure what was happening, but the judge raised a hand. "Let him go," he said. Max reached Douglas and sat down in front of him. Then he barked. Just once. It was loud in the still courtroom, a sharp, echoing bark that made everyone jump. Douglas's smile faltered. Miss Green's eyes widened. The judge stood. "What is this?" And then Lily spoke. Her voice was small but steady. "That's the smell. Max remembers it." Everyone turned to her. She looked at the judge. "When the bad man came into my house, he wore a strong smell. Max barked at him then, too. We trained for this. I taught Max to bark if he ever smelled it again, and I gave him the signal just now." The courtroom exploded in whispers. The judge banged his gavel. "Silence." Lily stood up. Her knees shook, but Max looked back at her, as if giving her strength. "He told me not to say anything," she said, her voice trembling. "He gave me candy and said it was our secret. But Max didn't like him. Max barked and wouldn't stop. That's how I knew it was wrong." The prosecutor stepped forward, her eyes filled with emotion. "Lily, are you saying the man who hurt you is the one Max barked at just now?" Lily nodded. "I trained Max. We practiced. I would do the signal." She repeated the motion with her finger. "And if he barked, that meant it was the same smell." He remembered. The defense attorney shouted, "This is ridiculous. A dog's behavior is not evidence." But Judge Carter didn't listen. He looked at Lily with something close to awe. Then he looked at Max. The courtroom had changed. The trial paused for the day. But the story had already made the news. Reporters called it the signal that broke the silence. Psychologists weighed in on how dogs could be trained to detect scents and link them with memories. Other children, inspired by Lily's courage, started speaking out. The case that once stood on shaky ground now had momentum. Investigators reopened old files. New witnesses came forward. During the next few days, the jury saw the difference. Lily, with Max beside her, was a completely different child. She spoke more. She told the truth. Step by step, she revealed everything that had happened. And Max never left her side. Douglas Reed's smugness faded. His lawyers struggled to keep control of the narrative. The evidence, once weak, now built like a wave. Phone records, security camera footage, and most importantly, the testimony of a brave little girl and her loyal dog. By the end of the trial, the jury delivered a guilty verdict on all counts. When the judge gave his final statement, his voice shook. "In all my years, I have never seen something so powerful as what we witnessed in this courtroom. The courage of a child, the loyalty of a dog, and the truth that came not in shouting, but in a single signal." He looked at Lily and Max. Justice was served today, not just by the law, but by love. The courtroom gave Lily a standing ovation. Reporters wanted to interview her. The mayor invited her to a special event. Max was awarded a medal for bravery by the local police department. But for Lily, the best part came that night, when she went home. She lay on her bed, Max curled up beside her. Her fingers played with his ear as she whispered, "Thank you, Max. You were my voice when I didn't have one." Max didn't say anything. He didn't have to. He just stayed close, as always a protector, her friend, her hero. And for the first time in a long time, Lily slept without fear.